Welcome to our online election board training for inspectors. We normally like to do training in person, but with the current environment, we know it's best to do training in this manner. While we are in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic, it is important for all of us to remain safe. This training will allow you to understand your role as an inspector. If you've not reviewed the online training for Clerks and Judges, we ask that you first review that training before reviewing the inspector training. Inspectors are paid $9.60 per hour plus mileage reimbursement. The inspector will also receive $7 for supply pickup stipend. The inspector serves as the supervisor of the precinct. You will find inspector duties on page 9 to 15 of the election board manual. 1 to 2 weeks before the election, the inspector must contact the polling place to make arrangements that the facility is open at 7 a.m. on election day and for any other arrangements you may need on election day. Call your election board workers to confirm that they are planning on working. If a board worker indicates they cannot work, please call Brian immediately. The new express vote will be picked up when you pick up your supplies on election the day before the election. Check the voting area so you have familiarity of how to set up the voting area. And make sure you have an extra table available for voters who would like to sit to vote. The day before the election, ballots and supply pickup. You'll pick up your ballots and supplies, which will include your ballots, supply box, ballot box, signage, ballot return box, and the express vote. Please follow the election supply box pickup map on page 11 of your manual. Before leaving the parking lot, please make sure you have all of your supplies. Check that you have the ballots for your precinct, and if you are in a precinct with more than one ballot style, that you have all of the proper styles. Double check that you have your list of registered voters for your precinct. This should be in the blue book of your ballot box. Make sure you ask for any additional signs that you may need. Please follow the election supply pickup map on page 11 of your manual. Please note that we are now picking up the express vote when you pick up your supplies on the day before the election. Inspectors will receive the express vote when picking up the supplies the Monday prior to the election. Inspectors will also return the express vote to the election office with the other supplies after the polls close on election night. The day of the election before the polls open. If you have an absent election board worker, please contact Brian in the election office immediately. Make sure every election board worker has signed the oath in the front of the sign-in register. Make sure everyone has completed the payroll form. Set up the express vote. Set up the voting booths. Unpack the supply box. Remember that black pins will be used to mark the ballot. We no longer will be using pencils. Post all signs. Those are listed on page 13 of your manual. Post the sample ballot. For this election, post one. For this election, you'll probably just have one. It's only one side, so you'll just have one to post those. Check your ballots for your precinct name and for style number if you're in one of those precincts that have more than one ballot style. Publicly open the ballot box so all board workers can see that the ballot box is empty, then lock the ballot box up. You will receive a list of voters who cast an early ballot after the list of voters has been printed. Please print the word absentee in the column print voter's name column so you will know that this voter has requested an early vote ballot. Brief your workers. Review procedures and duties of each worker. Initial. Make sure your election board workers understand that to make a ballot official, it must contain 2 sets of initials at the bottom of the ballot, and that we are now using red to initial those ballots. On page 15 of your manual, you will find a suggested polling place layout. In your ballot box, you will find your spoiled and rejected ballot envelopes. You will also find your express vote testing materials. Please follow the instructions on the front of the sign-in register of what should be placed in the sign-in register envelope at the end of the night. We will not be doing an early return of ballots. We will not have an afternoon return of ballots for this election. All ballots are to be returned after the close of polls at 8 p.m. on election night. Returning your equipment and supplies information will be found on the manual on page 33. Bring inside the election office, when you come to the election office, all ballots sealed in the ballot transport box, the blue book, the payroll form signed and removed from the blue book, padlock and keys, sign and register envelope, and the bring to the warehouse and stay in your vehicle the empty metal ballot box, voting booths, precinct maps, supply box, unused ballots in the unused ballot box bag, the express vote, and all other items. Please follow the map on page 34 of the manual, returning to the election office after the polls close. A week to 10 days prior to the election, you should receive your inspector packet from the office. In the packet, you'll receive a letter outlining specifics for this election. In the packet, you will have cards with your precinct name on them. You'll place this in your window when you pick up your supplies on the day prior to the election. In your packet, you will also have a list of your election board workers. In your packet, you will also have information specific to your precinct. In your packet, you'll have information regarding the other inspectors or if you're in a precinct with more than one precinct. If you're in a precinct with more than one ballot style, you'll have that information in your packet as well. You will also have an evaluation form for your clerks and judges. Please complete and return to the election office either in the sign-in register or later you can return that to Brian. In your packet, you will have a list of supplies that will be in your supply box. You will also have your name tag. Thank you. The training for inspectors is now complete. Have a great day on Election Day.